very excited to kick off our keynote conversations with the team from Chess. So please join me in welcoming Aaron Tveit, Lea Michele, and Nicholas Christopher.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, these are comfy.
So thank you guys for being here. I know you are in the thick of rehearsals right now. You start tech today. The show opens, or it starts previews next week. So what has it been like? What is the vibe? What are rehearsals like? How are you all feeling right now?
I think we feel good. Today's actually will be our third day of tech. We had yesterday off, which was nice. But yeah, it's been going really well. We've been working on this show that's a revival, but it's essentially, in a way, it's a brand new show because it has a brand new book that Danny Strong wrote, and the take that Michael Mayer and Danny have given it is, I think, really new. And we're really excited to take something that people love the music and love the story of the show and kind of tell it in a new way. And we got to do basically runs every day last week in the rehearsal studio, which was really amazing. I think we got to do more runs of a show in rehearsal than I've ever done before, which is great, which is nice because you go into tech and you kind of lose the show. You don't do a run for about 2 weeks, so it was nice for us to have that. But it's going really well, and I'm super excited. I feel very positive about it.
I mean, he just said it so perfectly. We really all just have our blinders on right now, really just focusing on what we have coming up and starting previews. I haven't been a part of a tech process in almost 20 years, but the rehearsal process was really intensive, and we really focused on the script and our characters and making sure that everything felt truthful. And now we're in a very technical part of the experience, which for me feels strange to not be working on our scenes every day, so you kind of have to step back and trust the process. But we're just really focused and gearing up to next week.
I mean, they said everything, but we all dove in headfirst into this process. And so in the rehearsal room, everything went very quickly because we had such a foundation from working on the script this summer. And then getting it up on its feet, so much was revealed to us, and we were all taken by surprise. And there was definitely an intensity in the way that we worked, but we also were able to laugh. We were able to take breaks and, really talk about the scenes and the songs and our characters and relationships. And it went by really fast.
Aaron and Nicholas, you were both in the Sweeney Todd revival, so there's some familiarity there. But what has it been like as a trio to get to know each other, to bond and work together in that capacity?
I mean, it's been amazing. Yeah, as you mentioned, Nick and I got to join him in Sweeney last year, and he's just one of the best talents I've ever been on stage with. And Lee and I have known each other for a long time, but have never worked together. But I think very quickly all of us realized that we all work in the same way. We kind of poured ourselves in and worked really, really hard. And I think when you kind of have that kind of similarity between you, it's very easy for chemistry to happen because you kind of trust the people that you're around, and you're really able to kind of let your own guard down in the rehearsal room. And I think that immediately all three of us bonded over that it was like, oh, everyone's shown up, everyone's done the work, everyone's ready to go. And I think that that's just been like such a dream way to start this process.
Yeah, I think that we were really ready to create a real intimacy amongst the three of us. We really needed, despite the fact that we spend most of the shows yelling and screaming in each other's faces, but even with that, you need to have a real sense of comfortability with the person that you're working with. And from day one, I could tell that we were all ready to just dive in completely and get very, connected to one another and bring 1,000% every single day, despite the fact that we have 5 children amongst the three of us. So we, come to work depending on however much we've been able to sleep at night. But still, we are so ready and giving as much as we can to the rehearsal process and now to staging. But building the relationship amongst the three of us was very important to give such truth to these characters and to our show.
Yeah. We also have the same way of working too. So even when we're on stage, some people really like to color by number, and it's very effective. But there's a real looseness once we're on the stage. You'll see when you see the show, there's not much set. We fill it with our relationships. We fill it with the music. We fill it with our emotions. So there is elasticity in the way that we play the scenes every time we go through it. And I think that will carry over for when we have audiences, and 8 times a week, there's going to be a fluidity of the way that we approach the words, the way that we approach the text and the music that I think will keep the show alive. And we all silently agreed on that as we were rehearsing.
So Chess over the years has become a cult favorite. Great music by ABBA, lyrics by Tim Rice. But it has a reputation of being difficult to adapt, and the initial production ran on Broadway for only 2 months. So what made this project worth revisiting? You mentioned it's not necessarily a straight revival. It's a different take on the book. But what about this story? Why did you feel like this deserved to be back on Broadway right now?
I think it's always been undeniable that the music to Chess is incredible. So as a singer, when you hear these songs, you just say, I have to sing this material. So for me, that was the first thing that I was just so excited about. I was like, I have to do this. I have to sing these songs. They're challenging. They're incredible. They're epic. They're everything that you want as a singer. They're challenging. And then knowing that Danny Strong came in and wrote this incredible new book that we three had the opportunity this summer to also take time to develop these characters and work close with Danny. But I think that every revival brings a history, whether for better or for worse. And we've seen recently revivals come back, looking at like Merrily We Roll Along. And sometimes it's just the right time, the right place, and the right people. And that's how I feel about, I'm not focusing so much on the history. I'm just thinking about what we are going to bring to this and what they're doing with the book, and all of that together. For me, that's just where I'm focusing. But
yeah, and really, I mean, they just say everything so well. I don't know what else. But we really focused on clarity of story, clarity of character. What does this person want? How do they want to go get it? What stands in their way? And we started there, and we really hope that spills across the orchestra pit.
And I think the question for why now that I think is very interesting to me, I hope that good theater, in a way, besides people going into the theater and having a good time, which they definitely will with this by the music alone, but I hope the good theater holds a mirror up to society. And I think this show is about political turmoil between 1979 and 1983. It's about perspective on the Cold War and Cold War politics between political superpowers. And I think, we live in a very difficult political time now. And I think that hopefully, besides having a good time, this show will make people think about that we're seemingly so far away from that time and that difficult time politically, but we're a little too close to it. And so I think that was really fascinating to me is the way that they have shown and depicted the Cold War through archival material and through, real newscaster footage and things like that. And I just hope that people will leave the theater thinking about our time and about, that how we're closer to those things than we probably want to admit. And so, I just hope people learn something too.
Nobody here has seen your version of Chess yet. So what can audiences expect in terms of the staging, the costumes? I'm sure you want to leave some surprises for opening night, but if you can just hint to everyone a little bit about what this production might look like.
it's definitely quite minimal. We're really focusing on the music and the story and the message behind everything. I think that there have been lots of different versions of chess that people have seen where they've really leaned into the time and the place, and others where they've really stripped it back and made it more of a concert. And I think that we're probably somewhere in the middle. There's some very cool technical aspects. Kevin Adams has an amazing, lights, and we have also incredible dancers who are just moving their bodies in ways that I have never seen before. But it's definitely more stripped back and allowing everyone to just focus on what we're saying and what we're singing. And I think that, audiences come to Broadway right now and they want their money's worth, and they should. And it has to have all of the elements, and I really feel like we are able to deliver all of that and give everyone an amazing night of theater, whether it's leaning completely into the 80s with shoulder pads or or not at all.
I mean, we look good, right? So.
I think it nods to the period a little bit, stylistically, and the wardrobe. But also, it's being presented a little bit as epic theater, like a pseudo-concert version that goes in and out of being able to play these scenes a bit fast and loose. There's an 18-piece band orchestra that's on stage with us, so I think that really supports the musical element of this, right? It's like this kind of epic rock music and epic pop music, so I think feeling the band, for us as performers, feeling the band on stage, but whenever I see that in a musical, I feel like I can feel it in my chest in the audience. So I think it's all those things kind of together to just put this forward in a new way.
Lea, you mentioned that the three of you over the summer worked very closely with Danny Strong, who wrote the book of the musical, and Michael Mayer, who is directing the show. I gather that's a unique experience to have that much time in the development process. So what was that like for the three of you, and in what ways has it informed the way that you're playing your characters?
I mean, I'm so grateful that Danny especially was so open to hearing our thoughts and, finding ways that we could take this dialogue and have it sound natural amongst the three of us. And we worked very hard, myself, Nick and Aaron, and Danny and Michael. And just for me, I mean, I've known Michael for 25 years now. I met him when I was 14 years old. Please don't do the math. But, Michael really knows me very well, but I didn't know Danny, but still he was so open and taking the time for me, especially as a woman, to understand who Florence is as a female in this very, predominant male world of chess, and making her both strong and vulnerable at the same time, and be in love but also want to be independent. He was so open to putting in all of those layers and all of those different colors to who she is, and really having this unbelievable love triangle amongst the three of us, but have it be so much more than just that. For who she is something that I'm so grateful to have had the time to work with Danny to find who she is. And now, it's the first time that I'm really playing an adult on Broadway. Every show that I've ever done, I literally played the little girl in Ragtime. And even in Funny Girl, she starts off as, 16 and then, ages up. But to play a woman, and at my age now, I'm just so grateful to feel that she is fully formed and fully developed and whole as a person, with a real strong story to tell.
Yeah, Danny and Michael have been working on the show for 7 years now. So bringing us in with new eyes and fresh takes on it, where we were able to ask questions and get even more clarity out of them. And as Lea was digging and trying to find out who Florence is, it illuminated certain things about each of our characters in that process as well. So that was the most exciting part about this summer, really, was being able to find out new things about my character as I am reflected off of her in each scene.
Yeah, it was just a very collaborative experience. We, as Nick mentioned, Danny and Mike have been working on the show for 6 or 7 years, and so the three of us were not a part of that. And so we were kind of stepping in to this kind of moving train that was already happening. And if they had said, like, this is what the show is, and this is what we're doing, and this is what you're doing, I would have totally respected that, and we would have had to navigate our way through it. But they instead said, what do you all think? What can you bring to it that's yourself? And, you know, they were so open to our ideas and us as people, which is not always the situation. And so I think we're all very, very grateful for that. And it kind of, you know, brought the show to where it is right now, which is very reflective of who each of us is. And for me, you know, the thing that I was interested in is, like, my character, for instance, they say he's a narcissist and has undiagnosed bipolar disorder. And I kind of thought, you know, what does that mean? And the thing that I was really interested in about reflecting on kind of like right now in our society is this idea of childhood trauma and trauma that comes from somebody that was maybe thrust into the spotlight at a very young age, right? This guy became a chess champion at 11 and didn't have the support system in his family to help this person. And I think that's what's led him to where he is now. And so I'm really interested in kind of the idea of celebrity in our society and how basically kids can go on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, and then all of a sudden they're famous, and what's the fallout from that, right? So there are other things that I was really interested in that I think they were so open to, you know, addressing and thinking about. So it's just been really fun to kind of dive into that.
So I think the question everybody wants to know is, do you have to actually have an understanding of how to play chess to be part of this show? And who amongst you is the best chess player, if you had to say?
You know, we've not played really each other. And I think that's been kind of a unspoken specific thing. I played a lot when I was a little kid, and then I have not played for many years. I have friends that are very, very good chess players. We have a board that was in the rehearsal space that was kind of an open game that anyone could go play. And we had a little way to tell whose move it was. But yeah, no, Nick and I have not played each other, and I think that's probably unspecifically specific. But I mean, you don't have to know how to play chess to be in this, but I think it's a really fun wrinkle in it all.
Yeah, you can come. It's seen through the I guess the filter of the Chess World Championship, but it's really just it's rooted in relationships. Both, you know, the person that you're sitting across the table from, or, you know, the ones that sit beside the table. If that makes any sense.
I'm reading Chess for Dummies.
Can you share any tips?
Well, I have 2 kids, so I'm trying to read as much as I can. No reading jokes, please. But you know, I'm just basically I have a lot of chess like jargon, like words that I just say throughout the show. I'm Freddie's coach, and maybe also spend some time with this one over here. And so I refer back to it when Danny will throw at me some crazy speech that I have to give one of them with all these wild chess moves that they should do, the Queen's Gambit and the End Game and this and that, and I'll look through the chess guide. I'll be like, oh, that's what that means? Great. But don't ask me to play chess right now.
Same. The 3 of you are all parents to young kids. So what is it like? How are you balancing having young ones at home with such a demanding schedule that Broadway endures?
It's very hard. It's hard. I have a 1-year-old at home. You know, I mean, she's 1, but still, it's like I feel like I just had her. My son is 5, and, you know, this morning it's like packing lunches and feeding my daughter and getting everybody ready and chasing kids around the house. And it's certainly challenging, but I know, I was just talking to Casey Levy before coming out here, and she also has 2 children, and I was just saying that you know that what you're doing is good and is right if when you're leaving your house and you're leaving your children every day and you're like, okay, I feel like as hard as it is to leave them, you know, you feel proud for what you're about to do and to show your children that you love what you do. But the greatest thing of all is that, you know, both Nick and Aaron have children as well, and to go to work every day and for them to just have their own understanding, to know that we're bringing a whole sort of history, whether the morning was 3 hours or 2 hours, we've had a whole day before our day with our families. just the fact that they have that understanding feels so great and is so wonderful. It's allowed me to work harder and challenge myself more, having them both by my side. But I love my kids very much. My son said, I said, do you want to come visit at work any day? And he was like, I don't need to come to Checkers, Mommy. So he gets it.
Yeah, that's good perspective, yeah.
It definitely keeps you grounded. Like 4 hours ago, I was getting my 4-year-old ready for school, and I was literally on my hands and knees pleading, I can't find the pink sweatpants, but here are the purple sweatpants. You don't understand. I have to get to Variety Business of Broadway, and I don't have time for this. But they don't care at all, and it's so beautiful and refreshing. And we brought them because my face has never been that big before on the side of a building, so we brought them to see the marquee of the theater, and they were like, okay, can we get French fries now? And it's unbelievably beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, Leah and Nick each have 2 kids, and I'm the new one to this party. I have a almost 11-month-old at home, and it's just been amazing to kind of get to go home and see her face, and no matter what happens, or if you have a terrible day at work, or you're going through your process of self-loathing, they don't care, right? So it's nice, and but also it's oddly made my time at work feel more special, because I know that I'm away from that, which has become so special to me. So it's encouraged me to just enjoy it even more, even something that I already enjoyed. So it's been a kind of an amazing thing.
Lea, 2 of your Glee co-stars are on Broadway right now. Jonathan Groff is in Just in Time, and Darren Criss is returning soon to maybe Happy Ending. Do you all get to see each other, spend time together when you do all have a show on Broadway at the same time?
Well, I haven't been on Broadway at the same time as Jonathan in so many years, so we're very excited. We just talked this morning. We're basically neighbors. And me, John, and Darren are on a text, and so we plan to get together once our show, Chess, is up and running, and we're all on Broadway at the same time. I was so proud at the Tonys this year to see the both of them, and for Darren to win. I'm really proud. I have some very talented, incredible friends, and it's just, it's really exciting to have us all here in New York working on shows that we're all really proud of.
And I know, of course, the run of Chess has not begun yet, but as you're thinking of next week preview starting, how do you get into the mindset and the mentality to perform 8 shows a week, and how do you keep things fresh? What is that process like for you all?
It's a very long process. Just setting up the home life first and foremost with as much support as possible, and making sure that my family is okay and that we have the help that we need. And, for me, I have like a very extensive, process of warming up my voice and warming up my body and practicing constantly and bugging these 2 to go over lines with me over and over again. And, my prep for the show begins the minute I wake up in the morning. It starts with what I'm eating, and everything that I'm doing is gearing up to do a show at night. And, if I'm at the park and I'm running after my kids and I have to stop myself and remember that I have to conserve my energy for my show, that's what I do, because I really want to be able to get there every night and give it as much as I can.
Yeah, and especially being a new show as well, and us coming in new, we're going to be finding out what audiences are like. We're going to be finding out what the sound in the theater is like, how much we can push or how much we can reserve for the end of the week. But you're constantly making adjustments because, show number 1 might feel great, but then you got to make it to show number 8. And then you also have to understand what it is to have the one day off with our kids and then go into the next week. So you're making adjustments for this week, but then you're also making adjustments hopefully for a very long and healthy run.
Yeah, it's interesting at this part of the process because, as Nick mentioned, we don't know how the audience is going to respond, and I think once we get the show in front of an audience, then you say, oh, this works, this might not work, this has to be this way or this way, and you hopefully can make those adjustments. So that's one part of it, and then the other side is trying to climb this 8-show-week mountain every week, and for me, this is, I think, the hardest show I've ever had to sing in my life, which is crazy thing for me to say, but it's also so that's in play, and kind of what Lea was mentioning. For me, I just try to keep my overall health baseline as high as possible, and then if that is okay, then I find I usually can get through an 8-show week. But it's a journey. It's a marathon. You're basically running a marathon every week against yourself. So it's two things happening at the same time. You're trying to make the show the best as it can and figure out what you need to do, but then also get yourself through whatever that is. So it's fun.
Well, I think I speak for everyone when I say we are very excited to see your take on chess, and let's give it up for the stars of chess.
Thank you
guys so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys so much.